Welcome to Somerset Showcase. Today we are here at Somerset Berkley Regional High School, where we are going to be talking about a very important topic with the Anti-Bullying Coalition. We're here with advisor Nassiff and students Kamryn Berube, Andrea Santos, Henriet James, and Trevor Teixeira. Could you tell me a little bit about the history of the coalition and how it started?
Sure. So the ABC came about probably about 18 years ago, I would say at this point, where we had the Bridgewater State University's MARC Center that's headed by Dr. Elizabeth Englander, who's a friend and colleague of mine. She runs the MARC Center out of Bridgewater, and she had some of her graduate students that were doing some research, and she was asking for area high schools that would be interested in having a cohort of her students come talk to high school students about what the problems are that they see happening within their high school. So they came down, they met with about 20 of our students way back when, and out of that meeting came the Anti-Bullying Coalition. The students named them themselves and basically decided that from their conversation with the college students that they wanted to start up a group within the high school. And so it's sort of a grassroots beginning, and it was named by the students. And we basically sort of took the model of Dr. Englander's program, where it is a peer-to-peer model, peer-to-peer mentor model, where the college kids talk with the high school kids, and we developed that into our high school kids going and talking with the elementary and middle school kids as a platform.
And you've done a lot of activities since then. Can you tell me about some of the things that the coalition has done?
Sure. So we started off by actually just doing some work within the high school itself and working with our own students to talk about what we can do a better job of, and that has kind of gone into the beginning of every school year. We do a presentation for the students and the faculty. We used to use the B word a lot, the bullying word a lot. We've kind of started to trend away from using the term because we were feeling like it was becoming so trendy that, you mentioned that word and kids kind of roll their eyes. And so we really looked more at other avenues to address the overall concept. So we started talking about conflict resolution, and empathy, which has become sort of a bigger theme as of late. And so we do presentations at the high school level. Then we kind of take our show on the road, so to speak. We talk with the administrators at the middle school level and the elementary school level to get a feel for what it is that they're dealing with as far as their social problems. And we develop skits from that, and we go and do presentations that are age appropriate to the younger schools. We usually, because of COVID, they haven't had it, but every year annually since we started the program, we travel to Bridgewater State University. We go to a youth summit that's there. We participate in their PSA competition contest that we've won several years in a row, where you have to come up with a 90-second video depicting an answer to the question that the center itself puts out. And so we have a little trophy showcase that we have here at the high school for some of the events that we've done here. And probably one of our most notable contributions is the Delaney Rustin Screenagers 2 documentary that we were featured in. That was really kind of an exciting thing. She had learned about our work through Dr. Englander and spent some time here at the high school and did some filming, and then we are featured in a couple clips with that, and it's a national documentary, so that's pretty exciting too. So we're always growing and changing and looking for new ideas, and so it kind of grows legs, I say, every year with different events that we do.
How many students are in the coalition?
This year there's about 30. It's the largest group we've ever had, and they're all new in the sense that we weren't able to travel in the past 2 years to any of the other schools. So this group is really special to me because they're really learning about the whole concept, and I'm so proud of them that they just really needed to hear about a little bit about what we did, and they're all on board with learning sort of the process and stepping up and really playing all the different roles within the presentation. So yeah, it's a large group, but they're a lot of fun.
Well, with that, can we go down the table, and can you guys tell me why you joined the coalition?
Well, I first saw it, I think on my first day of freshman orientation, but they kind of like came and talked about like some of the issues in the school. And it really interested me then, but then I looked into it and like I saw like that they worked with like younger students, the middle school and the elementary school, and like I've seen many issues like in like the elementary school and the middle school like when I was growing up, so I felt like it was a really good opportunity for me to help out like maybe like some other kid in my position like back in elementary school.
For me personally, I did it because like I like to see kids that like are understood. So when we go to like these elementary schools and we talk to them, and then we go in these little separate groups with them, we're able to talk with them and we're able to understand how exactly bullying affects them. And then we also get to share our own personal matters and how bullying has affected us. So for me, it's a way to like understand them and like give them that type of person that I wish I had when I was in elementary school.
For me, I like helping people and like I like kids, and so I really liked to go and like help them out. Plus, I was affected by bullying a lot, so I like to help other kids to not go through that.
Well, I joined because I heard we got to like teach little kids how to like not bully and like how to handle that stuff. And I have a little brother, so I like saw that a lot, and I'd be like, oh, well, I'm good with kids. I see this a lot. I kind of know what's up, so I was like, this is for me.
Have you all had experiences with bullying as far as being the victim yourself or seeing other people in the schools?
Yeah.
That's what's really interesting, because I think that they've learned so much from their own experience, and by just sharing that with the younger kids, I think makes the younger kids feel less alone and less isolated. And I think it's cathartic for the older kids because, you know, in a lot of ways they're showing that they have made it through. And not to say that there's still not bullying behaviors that go on within the high school, but that their success, you know, and that their success has triumphed over the hardships that they've gone through with enduring bullying types of behavior. And so that's really promising, and I think it gives a lot of hope to those younger kids, and shows them that, you know, there is life beyond just where they're at right now, maybe feeling stuck in that moment.
And I was over at the elementary school when you were doing your skits, and the principal told me that sometimes older students providing the message to the younger students is more effective than the adults doing that. Do you?
Well, what's interesting is that some of the students that are in the group currently remember us going when they were back in like third grade.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that, Trevor?
I do remember that.
And so I think sometimes it's like being able to see it full circle and see that, you know, you were affected when you were listening to the older students. And I think it's true. You know, I think that the peer-to-peer model is a very strong model to use when we're educating kids on these types of social issues. And I think that they, you know, we work to develop the message, and a lot of it is incorporating real-life scenarios. And so these kids that are developing the skits, we weave humor into it because that's part of it. We want to make it entertaining. We want to make sure that they're, you know, we have their focus. And so it is kind of funny, some of the stuff that we put out there in the skits. But I think that overall the message is a strong, serious message. So to kind of balance that entertainment piece with the message of empathy for third and fourth graders, which is what we have, fourth and fifth graders is what we've met with this year. It's a pretty cool thing for these kids to do because they've been in those shoes and now they're on the sort of teaching end of things. And for a lot of these kids, they've never gotten up in front of a crowd before too. So that's what's really kind of cool, is that they're expanding their public speaking skills and maybe stepping out of their comfort zone a little bit by acting some stuff out in front of a large group. So I think that, you know, the benefit that I see, and even just their growth in doing only 2 presentations so far, we're going to be doing our 3rd presentation on April 27th, you see them getting more comfortable with the material as we move on. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, empathy was also the theme of the art exhibit that just opened at the high school as well.
That's right. That's right.
So the coalition's been around for a while now. How much of an impact do you think it's had on preventing bullying or decreasing the amount of instances of it?
Well, I think it one of the qualities of the program is that it gets the conversation going, you know, and I think that that's what we look to continue to do, is affect change within the schools. And so I think one of our goals this year is to meet back up with those students again. I've heard some feedback from the principals who would like for there to be ongoing discussions. And I think ultimately what would be great is for these students, the younger students, to develop their own means by which they want to address it, whether it's, a certain day at school that they're going to be labeling as, Empathy Day, or if they're going to develop their own club within their school. So I think that the work has to be ongoing in order for there to be change. And I think that that's one of the things that we'll see more, is just starting the conversation, having kids talk about it more, and then getting feedback from them as time goes on to see if they're seeing a reduction in it. So it's hard to measure, because I think, I share with the students that I think mean behavior is always going to be out there. I think it's impossible and unrealistic to think that you're going to eradicate it. And that's why our next positive thought really is that, but one statement can make the difference in the life of a child. And one of the things that, I've learned through all of my research is that, the impact is what we're trying to lessen. If we lessen the impact for the student that is receiving that bullying behavior, that's where we're measuring the success. So if we're lessening the impact by just going up to them and saying, hey, I'm sorry that happened to you, that's where really we're seeing the progress.
And that was one of the big things I saw at your North Elementary presentation, was you were talking about the hardest part is intervening and how to do that and how to help the victim.
Mm-hmm. It is, because I think they don't want it to turn around and be turned on them if they intervene.
So how often do you guys meet? Is this a lot of work to do this?
What do you guys think?
Sometimes.
I think in the beginning, getting it started, we probably started a meeting. I think our first meeting was early February this year, and it was a lot of front loading to get all the information out. And because we had such a large group, we had to break the actual group down into 3 groups of 10. So that we broke it down as far as what the presentation would be. So there's the PowerPoint piece, and then the skit piece, and then another skit piece. So I would say we probably have had about 10 to 12 meetings so far this year.
Yeah.
Now, how much bullying do you guys see in the school? How much?
I see less bullying in the high school than I did in the middle school,
Okay.
which I think is a really good thing. I think a lot of kids growing up in the middle school and just the maturing, they kind of developed a sense of empathy, or kids kind of learned over time how to set their own boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that helped in the high school, but I think that I think social media in the high school has become more prevalent than it has in middle school.
More bullying on social media?
More bullying on social media than you see in day-to-day school.
Yeah, I totally agree with her. You see it more on social media than you see it in hallways. So I may see some bullying, but I also see bystanders stepping up still, or I see the victim stepping up for themselves. So it does happen a lot, but I also see people standing up for themselves, which I wouldn't have seen in middle school, I wouldn't have seen in elementary school. But because Kamryn said, they're just maturing, and people are realizing that they have a voice and they can stand up for themselves, especially with what we have going on with the ABC, that's putting a lot of stuff out there that you really want to stand up to your bullies. I see it more and more.
Yeah, the social media aspect of it is interesting, because I think I see that with adults on there as well, and
Right.
people don't have to worry about standing in front of someone when they're doing that. They're behind their keyboard.
Right.
And, but it sounds like it, from what you guys were saying, it sounds easier for the victim to respond to that as well if they're on the social media.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys feel about that aspect of it?
I think it depends on the situation, because I definitely I see it, but I guess it depends on the person and how supported they are with people, because certain people they're fine, and then other people they have a lot of drama going on between people, and it makes it kind of hard for people to step up and help them.
For me, it's there, but some people just shrug it off, and they're oh, I don't really care what you say, or sometimes what you do, and they just shrug it off and they don't give a reaction. So then the aggressor just like walks away and stops. But again, with what they said, there's a lot of social media.
Yeah. Is it a particular social media? Like, I'm not really in tune with the whole TikTok scene right now. Where is it happening?
Probably Snapchat.
On Snapchat?
I'd say Snapchat. Yeah.
The younger kids, I believe, were reporting a lot of TikTok.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it sounds like from what you guys are saying, the middle school is where it happens the most, which is interesting because I was just interviewing some of the candidates for school committee for the town election, and there was a lot of discussion about that. And one of the candidates in particular was concerned about the middle school more than the other grades.
I think a lot too, it's, within the last couple of years with the pandemic, that's changed the way that kids are interacting as well. So I think you're probably seeing more of that social media bullying online because that's where kids are, that's how kids were communicating for the most part while they were not in school. So I think there was probably a spike and increase during that time. And now they're back in school and, so it's behaviorally, I think that you're starting to see some other behaviors pop up. And we've only worked with the elementary school this year, but, you see that from what the kids shared, one of the things that I really loved is that I had was getting feedback from the high school kids after our last South Elementary School presentation, and the kids are so willing and open to talk, right? Is that what you found? Like they want to talk, like breaking those kids down into smaller groups. I mean, it was amazing. It was like the high school kids almost couldn't keep up with all the things that the kids were sharing. So I think that was really wonderful to see that they felt comfortable and that they were disclosing a lot of what was happening. So that to me, and talking with Dr. Manchester and Mrs. Brown, and we're going to be seeing Mr. Plant soon over at Chase, keeping this conversation going, like what steps can we do next to have these small groups continue? Because I think that's going to be the key to it. Like anything else, like a one and done presentation isn't always the most beneficial. It might be a great presentation, and in the moment the kids might be like, wow, that was really great. But I think the goal is going to be the ongoing work that these kids want to do, and I think the younger kids would love to see them again. And then the hope is that, they're going to be middle schoolers pretty soon, and then they're going to be coming up through the high school. So hopefully it becomes a full circle with maturation, like you're saying.
Okay. So how much of it is cyberbullying, as they say, and how much do you see the old school bully who's trying to take your lunch money?
I think that from the elementary level, it seems like there's still a lot at like the recess sort of playground type scene where there's sort of an exclusion of those that might not have the same set of skills athletically. That's what we were hearing a lot of feedback from, is that if they don't think that they're good enough, they're not allowing them to play, even though it's just a recess thing. So I think that element is still happening. You can't be on my team, those types of things. I think that's still happening. But I think as you get older, one of the themes that you find is that a lot of the bullying occurs within the actual friend group. So it might not be going out of your way to be mean to that other kid that's sitting at the table. It might be that the bullying or the mean behavior is happening within the established friend group themselves. So that's sort of a different situation. But I think the same tenets, are there as far as someone within that friend group recognizing that as not being, nice and necessary and standing up within the group. But I think, again, the high school kids still battle with that a little bit.
How do you prepare these guys to try and...
I scream and yell at them, right?
Not like when you used to coach?
Yes, right. Yelling is very fun. No. Well, a lot of my meeting schedules and stuff we do through the Google Classroom. We have an ABC Google Classroom. That's how the kids can sign up to be a part of it. And then we meet after school anywhere we can, either the Performing Arts Center or the Student Dining Center. A lot of it is conversation, right? We go back and forth, and we have ideas that we write down, and then we play it out, and then we were like, wait, that didn't work. It's almost like and I always joke that I've never been a drama coach, but sometimes you feel like you're sort of directing a play. and what works and what doesn't. And even after the first one, we came back and we redid some of the slides to look more at the cyberbullying piece of things. So the way I describe it to them all the time is that it's a work in progress. You know, it's constantly changing and evolving, and we're learning from the younger kids. And I think that's part of what the beauty is in working with teenagers, is that I learn so much from them, and they're such great teachers, and they're a wealth of knowledge. And then even going down to the elementary school, you find that, you know, the younger kids help you to learn things as well. So, you know, I think it's just communication is my main way of talking with them, listening to them, hearing from them. I don't just get up there and tell them what to do. I'm really excited to hear what their feedback is. So, you know, it's sort of a nice give and take relationship, I guess you could say.
No, a lot of other schools have anti-bullying coalitions.
I mean, I don't know. Do you have friends in other high schools that have? I haven't really ever had any experience with meeting anybody else, and that's one of the things that I know Dr. Englander and we've talked a lot about. You know, we really did take that first meeting seriously when those kids came down, and that's what this came out of. So I feel like, you know, they do have a lot of those meetings still with the Mark Center. I'm not sure if schools are developing it, but they might have other groups, but we don't really. It'd be nice to kind of find them if they're out there and team up, but yeah, I'm not really familiar with any.
MARC stands for what again?
The Massachusetts Aggression Reduction Center.
Because obviously they've done a lot of research there.
They have.
And they do a lot of work with schools as
They
well.
do, yes. They've been to our district this year, I believe. I'm not sure what school, but I think I remember reading something about Mark coming in. Yeah. We're lucky to have them like right around our corner, really, too, in Bridgewater.
Yeah, it's not
nice.
not too far away.
Yeah.
But, okay. Well, I think that's all the questions I have, unless is there anything you'd like to add or anything that we didn't cover? Or...
No.
Okay, well, thanks for...
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you.
It was really nice.
So, thank you for tuning in to Somerset Showcase. We've been talking to the Anti-Bullying Coalition at Somerset Berkley Regional High School. We will see you next time.